Welcome to another Howls and Growls breakdown. Today we're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns and what Minnesota's offense looks like when they put him in the corner. Sticking Cat in the corner is something the Wolves have been clearly hesitant to do over the course of his career because he's so often been the focal point of the offense from the middle of the floor or down on the low block. But it's something we're starting to see more of lately, and it's something we should see more of going forward. Before the arrival of Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, it didn't make too much sense, but now with Edwards commanding a high usage of the scoring load, and Gobert making offensive spacing harder with his style of play, it's becoming a necessity within Minnesota's offense. And it was a single play in their latest win over the Houston Rockets that had me thinking about corner Cat again. You see him here, he's not starting in the corner, but instead he's going to get an away screen here from Rudy Gobert, and then he's going to ghost past Conley and drift into the corner. So when Conley flows into a pick and roll with Gobert, Towns' man sits in the paint here to help on Gobert, and that gives Towns enough room in the corner to get off that corner three. And it's worth taking another look at that possession in full speed because it demonstrates the spacing of the offense, and that's the key reason for moving Towns out of the middle of the action and putting him in the corner instead. It allows Gobert to rumble into the paint and use his gravity as a rolling force to open up the floor, and Towns is obviously skilled enough as a shooter to make defensives pay for it. That's something we probably haven't seen enough of this season. And from there you see the impact of that shooting presence starting to bleed into the game of Anthony Edwards as well. When he comes off this high ball screen, Towns' man is sitting close to Cat rather than coming off into heavy low man help. Because Gobert is up screening at the point of attack and Towns is stretching the floor in the corner, Edwards has that whole lane to attack and finish easily at the rim. And again, it's the same thing here. Gobert is setting this super high ball screen while Towns is warping the defense purely by standing in the corner and dragging that low man again away with his shooting gravity. So even without getting near the ball, Towns is the one opening up that driving lane for Edwards to come and destroy the rim there and really put a cap on this game. So that's the idea of it all. In many ways it seems counterintuitive to hide an all-star and a 3-level scoring force in the corner, but Minnesota's offense works differently to a lot of other teams in the NBA. Because of Gobert and other non-shooters like Kyle Anderson, or even Jordan McLaughlin and sometimes Shake Milton, they need to really structure that spacing precisely to optimize their ability to score freely, and we've seen that go wrong many times this season. So they can't always stick Cat in the corner because they do need him to act as an isolation scorer sometimes, but they're beginning to do it more often for those reasons. The key is getting there more often and getting there in more creative ways. Hey guys, just interrupting this video quickly to tell you about Fruity Flyers, a local Minnesota brand who love the Wolves like we love the Wolves. Their clothing is simple and it's fun and it's perfect for Wolves fans. If you buy 2 Fruity Flyers tees, you can get a free black tee just for supporting Howls and Growls. Just head over to fruityflyers.com, get your tees, and use the code Howls and Growls for a free tee with your order. Minnesota have tried this split action where Anderson and Edwards split around the dribble handoff, and when they flip it into a pick and roll, Gobert rolls to the rim and Towns' man comes across to help, freeing up that skip pass across and a wide open 3 for Cat. Again, they're making the low man make a decision on whether to stay on Towns or help on the roll man. Either way, the offense has an option to take there, and that's going to lead to a good shot. We've also seen them go to this little wedge pin down action. So when Conley comes to set a diagonal up screen or a wedge screen here on Towns' man, that means Towns can slice at a 45-degree angle down to set this pin down screen. But instead of the player coming up off it like usual, they backdoor and empty the corner for Towns to drift into and either get a catch and shoot look or square his man up and score from there. And maybe Minnesota's most frequent way to get Towns operating out of the corner is running their zoom action. It's also a great way to get Edwards engaged as a playmaker to those corners again. So zoom action is just a pin down screen here, and then a dribble handoff here as Edwards curls around. Again, that's pushing this low man away from Cat into a help position on Gobert, and then Edwards can make that passing read to the corner. Here's that same zoom action working again in a different game. It's that pin down screen here, that flows into the handoff action here, that engages the low defender here, and even if the defender is alert and gets back to Towns, he only needs a sliver of space to be a reliable shooter from anywhere beyond the arc. And even if that low defender does close out and run Towns off the line, he's very adept at putting the ball on the floor and attacking that space to get shots at the rim. That's also a good way to keep him active within the offense as something more than just a corner shooter. You see here the pass is a little high, and Paul George is quick to shut off Towns, so he uses that aggressiveness against him and scoots around George to get a finish inside. There's a ton of ways this corner thing can work, but the main thing in all of these possessions is how much space the offense has to work in, and how easily the Wolves find ball movement when the offense isn't bogged down by post-ups and isolations with Towns or Edwards dribbling into traffic. If the Wolves are going to go anywhere this season, it's going to be on the back of their insane defense, but they're putting a limit on their ceiling if they don't start to grease the wheels of their offense as well. It's almost unfair on a player as talented as Karl-Anthony Towns to be asked to sacrifice so much of his natural game to be someone who operates out of the corners on a ton of possessions, but that might just be what the Wolves need to facilitate that offensive growth, and it seems like they're leaning into that more of late already. Thanks again for watching this Howls and Growls breakdown. Please subscribe for more.